wronged. And that was really where my passion was. And that employment law is probably how I developed my passion for building a business, because I saw how employees were treated, and I wanted to build a business where culture for employees was number one, which is what I value right now.
That's huge.
Positively West Virginia is powered by Breezeline high-speed fiber internet and sponsored by Highmark West Virginia, Freedom Key of Morgantown, Interaction Media, and Storymaker. With the help of these sponsors, we are able to share the positive business stories of West Virginians, including the one featured in today's episode.
Well, folks, we're visiting today with Erika Kolenich. She is the owner and founder of Klie Law Offices here in West Virginia. She's also a candidate for governor for the state of West Virginia, representing the Libertarian Party. Erika, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
Yeah, thanks for being in the studio. I'm very excited about learning more about you, your business journey. You're a small business owner, come from a family of small business owners, and also a little bit about your campaign for governor here in West Virginia too. So thank you. Erika, why don't we get started by just sharing your journey, your small business story?
Sure. So I'm a lawyer, and when I went to law school, I was convinced that the thing that I didn't want to do is have my own practice. And I went the opposite way.
Yeah.
But that was mostly because I saw my mom, who had a few small businesses throughout my childhood. And if you watch my videos, you'll hear me talk about how my mom was a bartender, and she struggled. And then at various points in times when my mom would gather enough money, she would open a small business, and she had several over my childhood. She had a convenience store, and she had a tobacco store. She was co-owner of a bar at one point in time. The bar she worked at was for sale, and so she owned it at one point in time. My dad, when I was a teenager, my grandma passed away, and he invested the money in an awning business. Quickly lost it. It went under in about a year. So I just always saw how hard they worked and how little they had, honestly. And I thought, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with employees. I don't want to deal with overhead. I just want to practice law. And I was a lawyer for a little less than a year. And I decided to open my own practice. So
I love it. That's great.
That's where I am, and that's how I've gotten to where I am now.
Yeah. When did you start your own law practice?
I opened my own firm in May of 2005. Wow. And I did a little bit of, as a lawyer, what they call of counsel work for a law firm in Wheeling the first couple of years that I was open. And that just means I wasn't formally employed with that firm. I was just doing some hourly work to help pay the bills while I got my firm up off the ground.
Yeah.
So I guess we're coming up on about 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, what a story. And I love the fact that, you had in your mind, hey, I'm not going to do that, but here you are.
Yeah.
And I think, one of the reasons that this podcast exists, the whole Positively West Virginia movement that we've been on, this journey since 2017, is to shine the light on small business owners, because it is hard, and getting their word out there, their story is very important. And so I think you just exemplified why that is so, right?
Yeah.
And so talk a little bit about your law practice now. You've got offices in 4 different areas in West Virginia. You're based out of Upshur County, so you have an office in Buchanan, correct?
I do.
Parkersburg.
Yes.
Clarksburg and Morgantown.
Yes.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about what you're known for and your specialty in particular.
Sure. So I started out doing what they call door law, which just meant if you knocked on my door, I took your case. And that's what I did really from 2005. I would really say for about the first 10 years, I had what was a general practice. Yeah. And then I slowly fell into the niche of personal injury and employment law. That's really when I mentioned the firm that I started working for in Wheeling. Yeah. That's what I learned. So I learned civil litigation. I learned how to try cases in front of juries and how to represent West Virginia people that had been wronged. And that was really where my passion was. Yeah. And that employment law is probably how I developed my passion for building a business because I saw how employees were treated, and I wanted to build a business where culture for employees was number one, which is what I value right now.
That's huge.
And it really is. And I saw that, the businesses that my parents had were when I was older. They didn't really start those until I was in high school. That wasn't something I grew up with when I was young. So as they had those businesses, I saw that was always something that my mom valued. She would, even if she didn't have any money at Christmas time, she was buying Christmas gifts for the children of her employees. So that was just always something I carried with me. So employment was something that I was passionate about. But as I was practicing in that area, I saw a need for good family lawyers. So many people in West Virginia were going through divorces and custody cases. And West Virginia didn't really have family law firms. They had a lot of solo practitioners.
Sure.
And what that meant is if your attorney was in court and you had an emergency, you couldn't reach anyone.
Yeah.
You couldn't go to a firm where if your attorney was sick, there was another attorney that could cover the hearing so that you could get emergency custody of your child. And so I saw a need in West Virginia for a family law firm, something that was a little bit larger, something that could provide quality legal services to folks in our communities. So I started practicing in that area and building up my firm in that area, which is really what led to the growth of our law firm.
Yeah.
And that combined with my desire to build a good culture for employees really just led to this explosion that I never anticipated. I didn't anticipate building this really large law firm that I believe now, and I've not verified this, so please fact checkers, do not fact check me. I believe now is the largest family law firm in the state of West Virginia.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, hats off to you for that. You talk about culture, and I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Maybe give us a glimpse into that. What does that look like for Klie Law?
So for me, it means that culture is our number one at my firm. It means that you can be the best attorney in the world, and if you're not willing to treat your coworkers with respect, treat clients with respect, I'm not going to have you there. It means if you're not the type of person that is willing to stand at the copier. I mean, we tell people this during the interview. I don't care if you are the best attorney in the world. If you see a legal assistant or receptionist standing at that copier at 5 o'clock and they look stressed, if you're not willing to put down your briefcase and jump in and say, how can I help? This isn't the place for you.
Wow. Yeah, there you go. I love those examples. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's,
Yeah.
I often hear that culture eats strategy for lunch, and I do believe that culture in a small business especially is vitally important because it's hard to find quality people
It is.
and to keep them engaged, to keep them focused on the goal, right? Of whether it's serving people or growth or revenue or profit or whatever, you have to have the right people.
Absolutely. And, law is such a high stress field, right? You have
Oh my gosh,
attorneys, you have deadlines, you have opposing counsel, you have clients. Everything is high stakes. And so for me, it's important to have a place that people want to come to work and they're happy to come to work and they value each other.
I love it. This is Positively West Virginia. We'll be right back.
Your prescriptions are designed to keep you healthy, active, full of life. At Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, we're making vital medicine more affordable. Because when your prescriptions don't cost an arm and a leg, you can use those limbs for something more meaningful. Because life. Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, West Virginia.
At Freedom Kia, you'll find the perfect ride and savings for your summer adventures. This summer, dive into savings and fun. Just down the road is the Aquatic Center at Milan Park, where you can cool off and have some fun.
Find what you have been searching for in the 2024 Kia Telluride right now at Freedom Kia of Morgantown. Qualified buyers can save $2,500 on the 2024 Kia Telluride. For your next new Kia, look no further than Freedom Kia exit I-79, exit 153, Morgantown.
Folks, we're back. We're visiting with Erika Kolenich. She is the owner and founder of Klie Law with 4 locations in West Virginia. And she's also the Libertarian candidate for governor of the state of West Virginia this year. Election day is coming up, Tuesday, November 5th, I believe, right?
Yes.
So that's exciting. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Erika, from your perspective on your law firm, what's the thing you're most excited about right now?
I think I'm most excited just about the future and the possibility. We are opening our Morgantown office as we speak. The grand
great.
opening is this month. Furniture is being delivered today, this afternoon.
Awesome.
So I'm just most excited about where the future is going to take us. New lawyers and new legal professionals that are going to join our team, and where their careers can go, and the clients in the future that we might be able to help. One of my favorite things to do, I don't get to meet all the clients, but one of my favorite things to do is to read the Google reviews that come across, or to hear stories that my team shares with me on a Tuesday about wins that they've made for the clients. And
Love it.
I just like to continue to see those rack up.
I love it. How many folks do you have working in your business, your company, your firm?
Right now we're at 45.
Oh my goodness. That's a nice size company.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So, with regard to, growing a business, what do you think is the biggest challenge here doing business in West Virginia? What's the biggest challenge you face?
For me personally, in a professional services industry, it's always been talent. I have a hard time getting folks to want to stay in West Virginia, or getting folks from outside the state to want to come here to establish their careers.
Yeah. And I hear that a lot. We work a lot with in the healthcare industry, my team, and you hear that quite a bit. And recruitment of quality talent is a big deal. And it was, I used to kind of like joke about it back in 2019, because I felt like at the time, employees were in the driver's seat, because there was a demand for quality people. But then the pandemic hit, and it became even more advanced, like the more stress on employers to find quality talent and to recruit them here in West Virginia. What would you say is your favorite thing? You were born or raised here in West Virginia, lived your whole life here in West Virginia between Wheeling and Buchanan. What would you say is the thing that you love doing business here in West Virginia? If you're selling this to somebody to come here, what do you say?
I talk to them about the people that we're able to help in West Virginia.
Yeah.
They're just such real, nice people.
Yeah. It's all about the people.
Yeah. So for me, that's what I talk to them about. When they, talk about wanting to relocate to, I don't know, Miami or somewhere like that, I say, your clients are going to be different.
Yeah.
Understand that Joe that you get to represent here, who you get his kids back, or he got fired because he reported an OSHA violation, you don't get that same gratitude and that same thankfulness and that same genuineness.
I love that. Yeah.
From a West Virginia person somewhere else.
Well, we always talk about, from a tourism perspective, we have this beauty, right? And we have unparalleled, you go to Dolly Sods or the North Fork Mountain Trail or Seneca Rocks or any, the New River Gorge National Park, all favorite spots of mine, but it's the people. When you walk into that little coffee shop or that little brewery or it's just a little shop, the small businesses that we like to talk about, right? Those people that you meet are just unbelievable.
Yeah.
They're helpful, they're friendly, generally speaking, right?
They are.
And my goodness, I think you hit on something there. I think that we can show all these amazing sights and scenes, right, here in West Virginia, which we all are grateful for, but it's the people that makes us different.
It is. I call it West Virginia DNA. There's just something that runs through folks here. It's that thing that makes if you break down, right? Somebody very nice is going to stop and help you and bring you a snack and a bottle of water and a blanket and take care of you.
Yeah. So thanks for talking about talent. And I think that is a challenge that a lot of West Virginia businesses face. Talk a little bit about advice. You've been in business a number of years now. You've seen a lot. You've got a law degree. You've gotten to experience a lot in your career. If you are talking to somebody maybe thinking about starting a business in West Virginia, what advice would you give them?
The advice that I would give is that you have to be willing to hang on through the tough times. You know, so I'm a big Dale Carnegie fan, right?
Yeah.
And in Think and Grow Rich, not that you can necessarily get rich, but in Think and Grow Rich, he talks about mindset, and your mind really has to be right. It's that idea that right when you feel like things are ready to fall apart, that's when you can't give up.
Yeah.
And you just have to power through, because it doesn't matter how big your business gets or how successful you feel. There's always, even then, it always feels like it's going to fall apart.
Yeah.
They call it new level, new devil, right? You just have to hang on, and you have to believe, because if you don't believe, your customers won't believe and your team won't.
That's right.
believe.
It's an investment in yourself, ultimately.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Who are you going to bet on?
Yeah.
I'm not a betting person, but who am I going to invest in?
Yeah.
Who am I going to bet on?
Yep.
It's going to be me.
That's right.
And so I think that's wise advice. In that particular book, Think and Grow Rich, it's one of my favorites.
Yep.
There's a story called 3 Feet from Gold.
That's exactly the one I was thinking of. You're reading my mind.
You know, and you're like right there, and you don't want to give up, because that next stroke of the pick could be the largest vein of gold ever discovered, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great story, and I certainly appreciate that. This is Positively West Virginia. We'll be right back.
My name's Caitlin Furby. I'm an interior designer with Remarkable Interiors. Our time is very limited. We're trying to do everything we can possible to keep our clients' projects moving and rolling. So StoryMaker has been really great for us for putting out how to explain our company. I can sit and agonize about a post, and is this right? Does this sound good? When I use StoryMaker, it sounds so beautiful, and it was so easy, and it saves me a lot of time to do the things that I'm really good at.
Stay connected with an unbeatable deal from Breezeline. Get reliable, fiber-powered 500 megabits internet for $39.99 per month with a $100 gift card and price lock guarantee, plus a free modem, free installation, and free Wi-Fi your way. Folks, you know, here at Interaction Media, we're a media company, and we rely on high-speed internet every single day to get our jobs done. That's why we use Breezeline. It's affordable, it's fast, and they're awesome people as well. Learn more at breezeline.com. Folks, we're back. We're visiting with Erika Kolenich. She is the owner and founder of Klie Law, with 4 offices here in West Virginia. She's also a candidate for governor for the great state of West Virginia, representing the Libertarian Party. Erika, I want to move into that realm for a few minutes. Talk a little bit about your campaign and why you're running for governor the second time.
Sure. Yeah. So I ran in 2020, and that was a little bit tough, right? Because the world was shut down because of COVID. You didn't have much of a chance to get out there and meet voters. So I'm back at it in 2024. Yeah. And, you know, I'm running, as you mentioned, as a libertarian. And most people say, my goodness, why would you do that? What kind of crazy endeavor is that? And, you know, I'm running because I feel like people in West Virginia are ready for change. They're ready for something different. And I want to give them the opportunity to vote for something different. Yeah. And, you know, what I always tell people is, for me, you know, I have nothing against Democrats and Republicans per se, but here's what I know, and this is why I decided to run, is that Democrats were in control of West Virginia for a very long time. Mm-hmm. And Republicans have been in control for a while now, and at a supermajority level even. And unfortunately, when we look at the rankings for West Virginia, during both of those times, we were still at the bottom of all the bad lists, or the bottom of all the good lists, rather, and the top of all the bad lists. And we celebrate hugely when we move just a couple of notches. Yeah. And we're not making a lot of progress. And for me, you know, we just talked about talent a little bit ago. Mm-hmm. I want West Virginia to be a place that my daughter wants to stay. And not only that she wants to stay, but she's proud of. And in West Virginia, we are such a proud people. I tell everybody, you and I go to a restaurant down in, you know, Kentucky, down in North Carolina, in Ireland, in Mexico, doesn't matter. Country Roads comes on. There's a guy across the restaurant. He starts singing with us. We feel like he's our friend. We know him.
There
We
are
trust
people,
him.
yeah.
Yeah, and we're proud.
That's right.
Yet we let people tell us West Virginia's not a good place.
Yeah.
We let people tell us that, our kids have to leave for opportunity, for success. And we've been a little bit complacent in indoctrinating our youth about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like in order to really change that, in order to really change the narrative, we're going to have to do something drastically different.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And, the language that you're using, being kind of, ticked off a little bit that we're at the top of all the, the bad lists and the bottom of all the good lists. And I honestly, I get tired of saying, thank God for Alabama and Arkansas,
That's right.
That shouldn't be. And, it is frustrating because, I believe, and the reason we started this show again is to tell these stories of positively West Virginia businesses, right? They have great stories. And I feel like that is the lifeblood of our economy, is small business and entrepreneurship. And, from your perspective as a business owner for years, a couple of decades now, somebody who has made payroll, who has struggled through those hard times and all the different adversity that a small business owner, I feel like you have a unique perspective. Is that the case? Talk a little bit about that and what it means for business.
It is. I've told everybody, listen, if I can build, and I'm not Jim Justice. I'm not a millionaire.
Yeah.
Certainly not a billionaire, but I do okay.
Yeah.
And if I've been able to build that business from nothing, no one gave me anything.
Right.
I started my business in one room, half the size of this, that I painted purple.
Took a risk.
With a Kmart desk. Yeah.
Took a risk.
If I can do that, and now I support the families of 45 people, and I've done that by myself, people can do it in West Virginia.
Yes.
It's here.
It's optimism.
We just have to show it to folks. I mean, when you're walking down the streets of small town West Virginia and you go into an art gallery, they're doing it. They're creating opportunity for themselves. It's here.
Yes.
The opportunity is here. We don't need, we don't need someone to hand it to us. We don't need somebody to give it to us. We don't need to leave the borders of our state to find it. It's, people just need to stop looking to tomorrow for the opportunity, looking for somewhere else for the opportunity. Anyone who says there's nothing here, can't be done, there's no way to fix McDowell County, there's no way to fix Wyoming County, that's not true. It's absolutely not true.
Yeah.
It's a story that they've let someone tell them.
Yes. Wow.
And I think it's sad. And I think it's sad that the politicians that we currently have continue to tell them that.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, listen, the only way that we can fix it is to, I don't know, make up whatever your story is depending on what side you're on.
Right.
The only way we can fix it is by, stopping coal and, putting money into green energy. The only way that we can fix it is by, stopping green energy and propping up coal. There are 1,000,001 other things we can do just by creating a level playing field for people.
It sounds like, and I believe this to be true, but it sounds like, we have to create a vision for especially our young people, and saying, look, you may have grown up in this environment, but we can't let our past dictate our future. We have to look to the future and create that vision to say, look, this is what could be and what should be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just think people are going to have to start doing things in a different way. And I have so many different ideas about the economy, and they're things that, people never talk about. People never talk about this idea, at least politicians, of asset-based development. Well, what assets do we already have in West Virginia? We already know that since COVID, more people have looked to West Virginia as a place that's a viable place to live, a place where you can still have your job. And not that there aren't jobs here, by the way, there are 1.5 jobs for every person looking for a job in West Virginia,
That's right.
but you could still keep your job in Washington, D.C. if you want, and you can come and you can live in the mountains of Tucker County and work remote and have that beauty,
I love it.
and maybe even open your small business that you work on the evenings and weekends.
Your side hustle, and it becomes something, employ people, and I love that.
Absolutely.
I think you're right. I think that's fascinating. We already talked about the people here. We talked about the scenic beauty and all the resources we have. The reason we love West Virginia, and I think you're onto something there. From your quest to become the first female governor of West Virginia, that's a long stretch, right? I mean,
it is.
I think you would make a great governor.
Thank you.
Just in the short time I've gotten to know you. But as far as what's that journey been like? I mean, for you personally.
I won't sit here and tell you that it's been easy.
But
it's certainly been rewarding. It's exciting. It's exciting to me to be out there I was at the Roadkill Festival on Saturday, and then I was at the Wine and Jazz Festival on Sunday.
Great.
And it's exciting to be out there
amongst the people. And
first of all, I don't think you know what's going on with West Virginians unless you're out there talking to them. You don't know from listening to polls. You don't know from walking down a street and waving to people and saying, "Hi, I'm running for governor and I'm here," unless you're having real conversations with them. You don't know what they're going through. And it's been so exciting to me to hear people say, even if they may not agree with me, on where I am politically, thank you. Thank you for caring about us enough to come to the Roadkill Festival and to meet us and to, walk our walk and to talk to us and to be willing to put yourself out there and care enough about West Virginia and us to run. That is exciting and invigorating to me.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. Erika, first of all, thank you for sharing your story, your entrepreneur's story, and the story of Klie Law. How can folks learn more about you, your law firm, and your campaign?
Yeah. Well, if they want to learn more about my law firm, they can go to Klie Law. It's KLIE.com. I have a careers section, by the way. So if anybody's listening and watching and wants to come to work for me, there's a career section. We're always hiring at all of our locations. And if anyone wants to learn more about my campaign, they can go to nowisthetimewv.com. There's a 35-page policy statement that talks about in detail all the things I want to do for West Virginia: CPS and foster care reform, criminal justice reform, the economy, small businesses, many things we've talked about today, many things that we haven't. I'm also on all the social medias. People can find me there.
That's awesome. Our guest, once again, is Erika Kolenich, Klie Law and Libertarian candidate for governor for the state of West Virginia. Erika, it's been great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
It's an honor to get to know you, and I think what you're doing is really great, and want to encourage you to keep up the great work.
Thank you.
We'd like to thank our partners, Highmark West Virginia, Freedom Kia of Morgantown, Interaction Media, Storymaker, and our studio sponsor, Breezeline, for helping to share these positive stories. If you'd like to become a sponsor of the Positively West Virginia podcast, visit positivelywv.com/sponsor.
Folks, that's a wrap on another episode of Positively West Virginia. If you or someone you know would be a great guest on our show, drop us a line on our website at positivelywv.com. Of course, we appreciate your encouragement and support along the way as well. On behalf of our entire Positively West Virginia team, including our producer today, Mr. Jimmy Murray, behind the controls, I'm your host, Jim Matuga. Stay positive, West Virginia.